Hi, I'm Jeremy from Speak Your Mind. Today we're going to watch one of our morning classes, Bangor, and the class is made up of 5 students. Bangor are currently halfway through Unit 10, meaning they're a solid B1 level and well on their way towards B2. They started about 5 months ago from the beginning of Unit 9, around B1. Now there's a nice mix of ages and backgrounds in this class. We have some students and we have a couple of professionals. They all really want to speak and elaborate on their answers, but the class itself is capable of moving quickly. The first part of the lesson we're going to see is revision. We'll be covering 3 sections, or word blocks. Waste, used as a verb and a noun, the verb to recommend and recommendation, and the verb to confuse, to get confused, confusing and confusion. As you can see from the teacher's book, there are a good number of questions to work with, but I won't be using all of them. Normally, question selection is spontaneous and will depend on the type of class, the teacher's familiarity with that class, and the number of times the material has been revised. This class has revised this material 3 times already, so it should be nice and familiar. Right, waste and waste products, yeah? Do you waste much time during the day?
Yes, I waste time, especially in the evening, because I prefer watching TV than stay to fix my stuff and study or something else. Watching TV, I think it is a waste of time.
Okay, great. And do you think holidays are a waste of time?
No. Holidays are a beautiful way for to use my leisure time. It isn't a waste of time.
Great. Ask Sylvia.
Do you think holidays are waste of time?
No, I think holiday isn't a waste of time because if people work during all the year, people need 1 or 2 weeks to relax and do what they want.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yes. 1 or 2 weeks or weeks?
Weeks.
Good. And don't forget, we often use holidays in the plural. So holidays aren't a waste of time. Not holiday isn't. Great. What sort of things do you think are a waste of money?
Buying cars.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that the car is useful to carry you in some place, but not to make a good impression.
Oh, I see. So expensive cars maybe are a waste of money?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, recommendations, to recommend. How did you find out about this course?
I was at the coffee machine in my university, and there was 2 guys that was talking about this course, and I was interested in this, and they recommended at the end. They recommended to me this kind of course.
Good. It's nice to have a recommendation. You said I was interesting in the course. Interesting or interested?
Interested in.
Yeah, interested in. Great. Would you recommend this course to a friend?
Yes, I recommend this course to my friends. For example, I recommended it to my friend that now want to go abroad for a job. And I think in this course you can improve your speaking and you can also improve your confidence. And I recommend it to him.
Great. Fantastic. How important, Sarah, is a personal recommendation when you choose something?
It's quite important because sometimes I don't know exactly what I do, what I want. And if a friend of mine comes with me and he recommends something, is a good thing.
It is a good thing. How about Anna? Ask her.
How important is a recommendation, a personal recommendation, when you have to buy something?
Yes, I think it's quite important.
Yeah? It's quite important.
Yes, fast.
No worries. Now, confusing things to confuse. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have 2 brothers.
2 brothers?
Yeah.
Okay, so people don't confuse you
No.
with your brothers.
No,
Do
they
people
can't.
confuse your brothers?
No, because they are very different.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever confused someone with someone else?
Yes, it happened. In fact, when I saw my friend, I said hello to him, but unfortunately he turned back, turned around, and then I see he wasn't him.
It wasn't him.
So
You see it wasn't him, or you?
I saw, yeah.
Exactly. Right. What's the opposite of confusing instructions?
Clear instructions.
Very good. Now we're going to move on to a later part of the same lesson where the teacher introduces new work to the class. This will be language that the students haven't used yet, but will become part of the revision cycle from the next lesson onwards. You will see 2 blocks of new work introduced. The word rather and the related expressions rather than and would rather do something, and the words import and export as nouns and verbs. You can see that there are lots of examples and dialogues to demonstrate the language in a context, but the teacher will very seldom need to use all of them. Usually 1 or 2 will suffice, but you have others to exploit if a difficult meaning or use needs to be reinforced. Now, as Bangor is a fairly quick class and they pick things up fairly easily, I don't imagine they'll need more than 1 or 2 questions in most cases. Just as in revision, they keep their books closed. This means that they're listening closely, I can maintain eye contact, and I can also judge how much they understand as we're working through the material. Each block of new work is followed by some questions, so they can put their new language to use straight away. Okay everyone, now we'll do a bit of new work. The next words are rather, which we use in the phrase rather than, or I would rather. And the adverb, rather, is a more formal word for quite, or fairly, or pretty, like in this example. What's that new Bruce Willis movie like? It's rather good, actually. It's better than I expected. So he says it's rather good. He could say it's quite good. The words would rather mean would prefer. After would rather, we use the infinitive without to. So we can say everyone else wants to go out, but to tell you the truth, I'd prefer to stay at home. Or we can say, everyone else wants to go out, but to tell you the truth, I would rather stay at home. Not I would rather to stay. Okay?
Yeah.
Here's an example. Something to drink? Oh, yes please. Would you like a glass of wine? No thanks. I'd rather have a soft drink right now. Maybe I'll have something a bit stronger later on. Okay?
Yeah.
And then the negative of would rather is would rather not. Would rather not. Like in this example. Do you feel like going to the cinema later on? No thanks. I'd rather not go out this evening. Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Now, we can use the phrase, I'd rather you didn't,
when we ask someone not to do something in a polite way. Sorry guys, but I'd rather you didn't move the furniture around the office. Everything is arranged like this for a reason, you know? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It's very polite. I'd rather you didn't. Another example. What I'm going to tell you is quite personal, so I'd rather you didn't say a word to anyone about it. Okay, don't worry. I'll keep it to myself. Okay?
Yeah.
Oh, one more example. We can use the words rather than when we compare two different situations or possibilities. Like, I think we should decide right away rather than wait to see what our competitors plan to do. See, there's a choice, yeah?
Mhm.
Or, he's the laziest guy I've ever met. If there's nothing ready in the fridge, he goes to bed without eating rather than cook something for himself. It's like me. Okay, let's do some questions. Let's see.
Milk and cookies is the
Yeah.
solution.
Yes, opening the cupboard rather than cooking. Anna, where do you live?
I live in Verona.
Is there anywhere that you would rather live?
Oh yes, I do. I'd rather live in Africa, where there is always warm weather.
Wow, interesting. So you'd rather live in Africa. Is there anywhere you would rather live?
Yes, I would rather live in Spain.
Ah, nice. Okay. If you could choose, would you rather earn more money or have more free time?
I would rather more money. In this way, I can find my time.
Oh, good. And remember, with would, we can use the contracted form when we speak.
I'd rather.
I'd rather, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, just like other uses of would that you know. Sara, do you work?
Yeah.
How much satisfaction do you get from your job?
I get rather satisfaction from my job.
Ah, so not a lot, not a little, but in the
But
middle.
because I'm at the beginning
Ah, okay.
now.
So you get some satisfaction.
Yes.
We don't use rather for
Ah.
that idea of in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, but okay. Would you rather do something else?
No, I like this work,
Yeah.
but I need much more time because for to transform
Mhm.
this work in a good work.
Ah, okay. So it becomes more you, I
Yes.
suppose. Great. Okay. Now the next piece of new work, two opposites: import and export. You probably recognise these from your language, yes?
Yes.
There's a little difference between the noun and the verb, which we'll discover. Foreign goods are brought into our country and they're called imports. So the goods produced in our country and sold abroad are
Export.
exports. Yeah. Now sometimes in English, when the same word can be a verb or a noun, the pronunciation changes. The difference is often a change in stress, the accents on parts of the words. For example, in this case, the noun is pronounced import, but the verb is import. You hear the difference?
Yes.
And it's the same with export. Export is the noun, but export is the verb. Right. I'll give you one example just to reinforce it. Most European countries import over 50% of their food requirements. Import, verb. Okay. What kind of things does your country export?
Italy export foods, clothes, shoes, and
Style.
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 Okay.
And know-how.
Italian style.
And know-how.
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 Yeah.
Ah.
Knowledge.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
the knowledge.
Does your country import all its own food?
I don't think so, because probably the 30% of food is imports.
Ah, okay. What kind of things do you import?
I think spices,
Spices.
uh, and probably some kind of meat and some kind of cheese and
Oh,
wine.
Yeah, I've seen British cheese in the supermarkets. Yeah.
Yes.
Wine.
Wine, yes, would be, for example, from
From
France.
California.
France.
California.
Yes.
France. Yeah.
Salmon.
Ah, of course.
Salmon.
From
Yes,
where?
from Scottish.
Yeah, from
Scotland.
Scotland,
Scotland.
or maybe from Norway, Alaska. Yeah, I've seen that in the chiller as well. Great. Okay. Does your country import British beef?
Yes, Italy imports British beef like Angus.
It does. Great.